What's up guys, Houndish here, and today we have some news from Bungie in the form of This Week of Bungie. So we have the Iron Banner coming up very soon in Destiny 2. Bungie give us a little bit more information about some of the Crucible changes coming up in update 1.1.4. They give us some clarification about some things to do with the February update stuff, and a couple of other things, so let's get into it. First up, Iron Banner will be coming next week on Tuesday, March the 6th. The game mode will be Clash. I'm actually really glad that they're putting another Iron Banner event in before the March update at the end of the month. And you can see they give us an image right here. We're going to get some weapons in this particular event, some ones that we haven't had access to as of yet. We've got the pulse rifle, the grenade launcher, and the auto rifle right there. Of course, they're still the same set of Season 2 weapons, so still very much kind of based on existing models, or, you know, these are kind of common reskinned weapons with the Iron Banner theme, but we'll have to see if any of the bonuses on these look remotely exciting. They do point out that we will be able to continue working on ornaments for Season 2 inside of this Iron Banner, and of course the fact that Iron Banner changes and Crucible changes in general are coming up pretty soon. And up next, they give us some information from PvP design lead Derek Carroll about some of the stuff coming in update 1.1.4. So firstly, a little bit of information about how the Iron Banner will work. So it says Iron Banner will channel that old school Crucible in style of the Iron Lords, and we've made a number of tweaks to the gameplay besides increasing the team sizes to 6v6. So the match time limit will be 12 minutes. The score limit is 125 points. Respawn time is 7 seconds. All control zones start off neutral. Control zones take slightly longer to capture by default. Additional Guardians, a max of 3 in a zone, increases the capture speed, and Guardians participating in a capture get more super energy. So of course, you know, that's without knowing what other sandbox changes are actually coming. I think it's interesting that they're changing the way, you know, some of the zone control stuff works here. And I think it kind of makes sense, because when you play Control, despite the fact that only one person can actually, you know, capture a zone at once or get the points for it at least, you do end up with a whole bunch of people standing on zones regardless. Up next though, he does say that Rumble will make its triumphant return with no excuses, no complications, and absolutely no points for assists. You get a single point when you get a kill, just like in the golden age of video games. Oh, and this time we've increased the player count to 8. So that's really interesting. Rumble will consist of 8 players, not 6, not 4, but 8 players, which is, like I said, very, very interesting. I mean, just thinking off the top of my head, it's hard to kind of anticipate how this is going to work inside of the maps and everything like that, but obviously they feel like it's a good decision. So I think that's definitely going to mix the game up a little bit. He does say though that Mayhem is still Mayhem, and these 3 modes will share a central location on the Crucible director page and will rotate weekly to keep things fresh. This weekly feature playlist will be home to game types that don't necessarily fit into existing quick play or competitive playlists. He says that the mode formerly known as Doubles is in its chrysalis, making a slow transition from what you played during Crimson Days to become a beautiful butterfly. Interesting wording. We loved the way it played in Crimson Days, but felt like we could take it further and give it more polish and flexibility. Once we lock that down, we'll release it into the weekly featured rotating playlist with the other fun stuff. For now, we are unsure of a release date, but we'll add it to the roadmap when we have a more certain point, or we're more certain, sorry, of when it will land. And he points out that there are other cool features coming in the update that will make everybody's lives better, unless they're habitual quitters, which is obviously a hint to the quitter penalties, and we'll be sure to talk more about them as launch day approaches. It's worth bearing in mind we are getting all of the sandbox tweaks and changes that come inside of the March update, so as far as weapons, movement, sandbox in general, things should be shaken up quite a bit, so you have to kind of combine that with these new match types and everything like that. But it's looking like a good opportunity for Bungie to try and bring back some of the PvP players here. I think that they're doing some good stuff, but, you know, it's one of those we're simply gonna have to get the update and play it to see what it's like. Next though, Bungie give us some clarity on some of the Nightfall scoring stuff. So they actually talk about the emblem variants, because everyone wants to hear more about the emblems, but they say that when you complete these, the chance increases from 0% to as high as 50% at specific score thresholds per variant. Currently, these thresholds are as follows. So Tier 1 is 20k, Tier 2 is 40k, Tier 3 60, and Tier 4 80k. So if you have, those particular, score numbers, you're going to get the chance at that particular variant of the emblem. They do say as well that the removal of base modifiers from the Nightfall is because we want to emphasize core combat in this initial release and let the community define the meta for high-scoring Nightfall runs. We can certainly revisit modifiers in the future. They're not dead and buried, and they're open to player feedback. But of course, on top of this, we should be getting, heroic strike modifiers in the March update as well. Next though, they give us a bit of insight into that pesky bug that happens in the Leviathan raid where players aren't able to actually respawn. So one of the raid team devs says, "I understand how frustrating it can be when players frequently encounter an issue in our raids. Nobody takes it more to heart than the test team. Creating complex encounters that function as expected is the pinnacle of what the raid team strives in every release." And he goes on to say the issue where players do not respawn in the Leviathan raid is a memory issue due to the size and complexity of the activity, and it will require a code fix. It's caused when a fire team splits up across large distances while others remain back and swap out, and this has seemed to be occurring more often in recent weeks because we've updated our loot tables in order to make Leviathan a more rewarding experience with more incentives to return to, and we are still investigating a code fix for the problem. In the meantime, you can avoid the issue by sticking together as a team while trying out your sweet new loot. We realize this is not acceptable as a fix, but we wanted to give you the info on how you can try and mitigate the issue while we work it out. So it is something that Bungie are continuing to look at. It's definitely a very irritating bug. If you play the raid a lot, it can be pretty disruptive. So hopefully they will get a fix for that soon. But that is the bulk of the update, guys. They do say that they'll have more info about the March update over the next few weeks. Luckily though, we do have the Iron Banner, so if you're still playing and grinding right now, at least it gives us some stuff to actually do. Otherwise, hopefully the March 27th update will be, interesting enough to entice a few people back. But as always, let me know your thoughts, guys, in the comment section below. If you have found the video useful or interesting, a like is very much appreciated. And if you're new to the channel, feel free to hit subscribe to see more Destiny 2 content. For now though, I hope you have an awesome day.